welcome to the update corner. No, let's do this properly. Hello, welcome to hello, welcome to the August healing vlog. It feels like a while since I have updated it properly like this. Honestly, what happened is that last week, was it the week before? Anyway, I had a therapy session a while ago, and ever since then I have just not felt like updating these vlogs, which is fine, but also, as in, I feel fine. In fact, I felt very good in the days after, and I was like, am I feeling good because I'm trying to ignore what was going on, or am I feeling good because it was a release? Maybe a bit of both, but it was definitely a release, and I felt really good afterwards. But at the same time, I didn't want to come and talk about it on camera, which is fine, but like, it's interesting. It's like, did I not want to talk about it because I was feeling some type of way? Did I want to keep it private? I want to talk about it, but I felt like I couldn't. So I don't know, but let's have a quick chat, and then I'm gonna go make some dinner. Today's been nice. Today has been, it's quite an overcast day. I've realized I haven't stepped foot outside today actually, but yeah, I just got some work done, and I slept in, and I cleaned the bathroom. I'm about to clean some of the kitchen. I feel like I did something else. I feel like that's, yeah. But yeah, it's been a good day. So I'm going to quickly update, and for this update I need to go back a little bit, and we'll just talk very quickly about I don't want to say diagnosis, but like, basically, you know how I'll just say so basically my therapist was listening to some of the stuff I was saying, and she was like, yeah, we call that complex trauma, or that sounds like complex trauma to me. And to the best of my knowledge, complex trauma as a term is interchangeable with complex PTSD, cptsd, which I had heard of and I've done some research into. And to be honest, I wouldn't have personally diagnosed myself with cptsd. Complex trauma for some reason makes more sense, but it's, the best of my knowledge, complex trauma is a type of trauma that you experience repeatedly over a long period of time. So like, when you talk about PTSD, I think usually, don't call me on this, but my understanding is almost like, sometimes like there's traumas that are like one event that you then are affected by and you look back on. So like, it could be a war, it could be a natural disaster. It's like one major event that happens, and then the trauma is like the reaction afterwards. With complex trauma, it's repeated traumas. So think about someone who is under duress for a repeated amount of time. So let's say trigger warning for assault, but like, if somebody is repeatedly sexually assaulted over a long period of time, maybe they're living with their abuser, for example, or somebody is repeatedly emotionally neglected, and that happens for a period of time. So complex PTSD is more about something that's happening consistently, and it almost feels, not there's no escape, but it's just like, what's the word? You don't know when it's going to happen again. So maybe you're like uncertain, but it keeps happening, basically. So yeah, all that sounds really serious. Yeah, it's not as, for me, I think, as I've said so many times, like, but I'm trying to get away from saying, oh, it wasn't that serious, because actually, anyway, it was quite helpful hearing that, because even though I've been saying I'm addressing childhood traumas, I felt very weird using that word, and very like, I was kind of almost like doubting myself even as I was saying it. But actually having a medical professional be like, babes, that sounds like complex trauma, was quite validating, and made me go like, okay, I can call it trauma. And actually it feels a lot less stressful now, because I'm like, it's made me realize that I think everyone experiences trauma, full stop, because we live in a broken world. We live in a broken, sinful world. None of us are gonna like live our lives without being hurt by someone, without hurting someone, without seeing or experiencing or witnessing something that we shouldn't, without witnessing something traumatic, even if it's just on the news. And I say just, that's not just, you know, pandemic, like there's lots of things, losing someone, like there's a lot of things that can happen in this life because we live in quite like a not to say the whole world is bad, but like we do live in quite like a painful world. Painful things do happen, and the Lord causes the sun to shine on both the righteous and the sinful. So it's like everyone will experience pain, everyone will experience some type of trauma. Obviously not for everyone, like the degrees to which people experience things are different, the ages at which people experience things are different, their ability to deal with the trauma is different from person to person, depending on like personality, depending on the tools you were given and all of that. But like that's not to discount the trauma, do you know what I mean? So like for me, I feel like whilst the situation wasn't the worst situation, I think your brain stops developing or like continuously growing when you hit like your early 20s. So up until that point, you are still taking in information about the world, and you're not always necessarily like understanding things the way they should be understood, or like in the most mature way that you possibly can. And so I think some things happened when I was too young to fully process it objectively, and instead it made me sort of blame myself internally for things that were not actually my fault and things that were not my responsibility. Which is what I'm learning, is that like sometimes I'll say things and this therapist will be like, babes, that's not your responsibility though, and I'll be like, but it is. And she's like, no, but it literally isn't. And thinking about, like I was thinking about last night, like how many things I've taken on as like my responsibility when they're not. Like I am such a big oh my gosh, I'm like the biggest facial expression reader ever. I cannot stand people being upset, like, or like if they are upset, it's fine that they're upset, but I feel like I need to comfort them. I feel like it's my responsibility. Like I feel like most useful when I am helping someone to feel better. Not my responsibility, not at all. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I'm being a good person, I'm being a loving person. It's like, yeah, but also like don't do it under compulsion. Like just thinking about why you do that kind of thing. Anyway, I was listening to this podcast yesterday that was really good. It was called The Places We Find Ourselves. Let me see if I can. And he was talking about like what happens to a young person when they become the surrogate spouse. And that was something that was really interesting to me. So surrogate spouse, that might sound weird. I'll explain very briefly the concept. Essentially, if you have a relationship between two people, a mum and a dad, and they are not completely fulfilled or happy within their marriage, there are still basic human needs that need to be met, which is part of the reason why they got married, right? It's like the human need of like love and like romantic fulfillment and all of that jazz. Now if that is ruptured, they can seek other places to get it. And I'm not just talking about cheating, although that's interesting. Oh gosh, now I get that phrase. Right, cycle back. So that's the washer. We'll stop that in a minute. That's a washer. Cycle back. So they'll seek somewhere else to get it, right? And very often times, if there is a child in that home, a mum might find themselves running to the eldest child because they still need to get that validation and love from somewhere. And if they're not getting it from their husband, they might try and get it from the child. It's not a deliberate thing a lot of the time, it's not conscious, but the word I think he used was like almost like you groom the child to meet your needs because they're not being met in your romantic relationship. What happens therefore is that the child is forced to grow up very, very quickly because they're really playing the role of husband. It also happens with like the husband finds a surrogate spouse, usually with the eldest child, because, and that can look like complaining to the child about the spouse, ensuring that the child hears things that are not age appropriate, like for example their lack of sexual satisfaction within the marriage. It might look like You are always the caregiver, you're the emotional caretaker, you're always the one there to like look after them emotionally. So the child therefore has no way or space really to express or understand their own emotions and to regulate their own emotions, and therefore to even develop a full sense of self, because they're so disconnected from their emotions, because there's no space for them, and everything, they grow up so quickly, it's almost like they're within a marriage. So I was talking about now understanding that phrase now, because a phrase that came up was like emotional incest, and I was like, yo, that's a bit dramatic. These psychologists are being a bit dramatic now. It's not incest, bro. But like, I actually get it, because it's like almost like emotional cheating. It's not sexual, it's not like a physical relationship, but like it's still getting the desires and the needs that you want from a romantic partner, but you're getting it from a child. So a son or a daughter ends up playing a husband or wife to their mum or their dad. Wild. And again, it's not, doesn't mean that the parents are bad. It usually happens in situations where parents aren't getting along, there's a divorce, there's a separation, or there's like a mentally ill parent, there's an emotionally absent parent, there's friction in a relationship, or there's like a parent who is like addicted to something, right? So they're just basically needs are not being met. So the child now meets those needs. How did I get onto that? Anyway, basically, long story short, for whatever reason, and we won't dive into it, I do think, it's not even I think, I was definitely like within that role. I'm also the eldest child, right? So there's that also comes with it. You think about the gender dynamics in my house as well. I'm the only girl. Anyway, so definitely playing surrogate spouse to one of my parents. We won't go too much into it, but definitely the emotional caretaker. Definitely taking on a lot of responsibility that I don't need to take on. All of that stuff, yada yada yada, I think has contributed to some of the things that I am now healing from. Make sense? Make sense? Cool, we'll leave that topic there for now. Let's go to a different one, because I feel like, I think because for me what was modeled always giving out of what I did not have. That's powerful. I was a child doing the emotional caretaking. I was giving out of emotional reserves that I did not. We are about to make some vegan lasagna. We have this. Is it weird to add potato to lasagna? Because I kind of want to try it. Because the recipe is calling for vegan tofu something. I don't have that. So I'm thinking the potato could add some thickness, but also I don't want to experiment with that. We're just going to make a very basic vegan lasagna. I had a whole recipe up. I've looked at a few different ones and it looks like we just layer stuff. So here we go. I haven't made a lasagna since lockdown, and before that, have I ever made one? I don't know. So there you go. We're going to try this free from vegan cheese. I don't have high hopes for a lot of vegan cheeses, so let's see. Oh. It's alright, smells alright. Bit of salt bay, cheese bay. Whee! Yum, 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 yum. So we've put the eggplant in the oven to roast or bake or whatever. So I guess we wait now. Just gotta wait. So I did not put enough layers in this lasagna. Wow. Oh no, it's so like flat, but I'm sure it's gonna taste delicious. And yeah, I kind of just made up what I was doing, so should definitely see. Ooh, that is a strong smell. Ooh, yes. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. Luxury, darling. Oh, by the way, the lasagna was quite nice. It was just flat. Anyway, I'm gonna sit and read. Let's go and try not to get any of this on my white bed sheets. Okay, I think it's dry. Oh my gosh, it's hard to talk. Okay, so apparently you just peel it. Oh, how? Oh, okay. Oh, this is fun. Oh my gosh. This is quite satisfying, I can't lie. Whee! Oh wow, dang. Does my skin look good? Can't really tell. Like, if it looks more glowy. This is fun though, I like it. Basically, we'll see how much energy I have, but either today or tomorrow I'm going to wash my hair. So I'm either going to do the pre-poo treatment tonight, let it lie in overnight, and then wash it tomorrow, or I might just do the pre-poo, leave it for like a couple of hours or something like that, and then go straight into washing the hair. And even as I'm talking, I'm feeling tired, but I'm like, no, come on, you can do this, push through. It just takes a while to wash the hair. It takes a while. Like, every time I try and tell myself, oh, it'll take 2 hours, it's like 4 hours later and I'm like halfway done. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't have much detangler left, I don't think. I have like no detangler. Can you see that? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, Cleo. Did anyone ever... Whilst we detangle, I think I'm gonna pop on a YouTube video or a... I could pop on a film. My laptop's downstairs. Or a kind of really want to watch a film now.
About your presence and love. Two are often indicators that all is not well. As such, they serve a valuable purpose. They help us focus. Modern day living, however, opposes focusing. Surrounded by frenzy and